Hey guys, it's me, Takani, and I found a very interesting post on Am I the Devil, and I wanted to go through and read it with you guys. I think Am I the Devil is mostly just about people asking if they're a bad person, and the answer is yes. Yes, you're a bad person. So let's just hop right into this one, shall we? I pretended to have a vasectomy. 2 years later, and my wife is pregnant. Hello, Reddit. I've been a long time lurker, but I haven't posted, as usual. Anybody that asks anything, they always say this. I'm a frequent user of this app. However, my wife doesn't really like it. But I still want to be precautious, as she knows my users, so this is my throwaway account. I am going through a horrible dilemma, and I'm so deep in, I have no idea what to do. My wife and I have been married for 9 years, and we have 2 kids together and we aren't planning on having any more. Well, my wife is set on that idea, but I wanted to have 5 kids and she wanted to have one or none. This doesn't take away the fact that she's a great mother, it's just her preference. I don't know why they would say that. I'm really uncomfortable with the fact that he said that he wanted at least 5 kids, and his wife only wanted one or none. And then he says this doesn't take away from the fact that she's a great mother. It's just her preference. As if only wanting one or no kids would make you a bad mother. Like, I think I would be a pretty good mom, but I don't want kids. So, like, it doesn't mean I wouldn't be a good mom. I just don't want kids personally, and that's okay. I think if anything, only wanting like maybe max 3 kids would make you a good parent, because then you can at least give your undivided attention to them. Although I would say 3 is probably a bit much too. I feel like 2, 1 per parent, might be the appropriate amount for like having full childhoods, but I don't know. I'm not a parent. But growing up in a household with one half sibling and a step sibling, even I felt like I wasn't getting enough attention as a child. Like, I spent a lot of my time alone, also for like other reasons too. I just had like a not so fantastic childhood. I feel like it doesn't matter how many kids she wants, whether that makes her a great mom or not. And it's really weird to me that he put that in there, because why did you include that? Also, he wants at least 5 kids. With all due respect, and there's no respect due, I'm sorry, especially for this, and we'll get into it. With all not due respect, how would you even give the appropriate amount of attention to 5 or more children? Like, you literally cannot be there for them all. That's why I think that 2 would probably be like the max, but I don't know, maybe even just 1. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a parent and I don't want to be, so I'm not trying to come across as judgy. I'm just saying that I think having 5 kids would be a lot to handle, and that being only at least 5, it kind of makes me think, like, how good of a father are you though, especially considering what we're about to get into. So let's go into it. Going into the marriage, we sort of compromised to have maybe 2 or 3 kids. I'm set on having 3, but she didn't want any more. It's been 5 years since having the first 2, and around 2 years ago, she was hell-bent on me getting a vasectomy. I wasn't comfortable with it and refused, but it became the center of our arguments. We dated for 5 years before getting married, so we have been together for a total of 12 years. When this occurred, now we've been together for 14 years. These were such lovely times, and I didn't want to end our relationship on this, especially since we already have kids together. So I agreed to the vasectomy after months of arguing. Okay, so this gets on my nerves. It's, first of all, your wife is the one that's going through the pregnancy. Until you can experience pregnancy yourself, you don't get to determine, like, when your wife stops getting pregnant, okay? In fact, even if you do get to experience pregnancy yourself, you don't get to determine when your partner stops getting pregnant. If any partner wants to not have any more kids, that's their right to not have any more kids. He was so hell-bent on not getting a vasectomy because he wanted more kids. And, like, he's so set on having 3, but she doesn't want any more. She went through 2 births. She only wanted one or none kids, and she already had 2 kids. I would love to see what he does around the house and how much he contributes to the kids, or if it's his wife that does all the child rearing and stuff. Since it's not uncommon for women, it's actually seriously common for women to be the default parent. Usually women are the default parent. There was this one TikTok where this freaking dad went to Chipotle and his two sons were just sitting there, and that just like irks me. I mean, obviously we don't know why that is. Maybe he ate before ate beforehand was a common argument I saw. But then like, why didn't you eat before getting your kids? Why are you just sitting there eating Chipotle at one table and your kids sitting at another table just like sitting there waiting for you? Like those poor children. Like you couldn't even pick up your Chipotle and take it to the park so they could at least play around or something. But anyway, that's the part of the men that actually are seeing their children. Only about 22% of fathers who don't live with their children see them once a week or more. And that doesn't even include the men who refused to answer or said, "I don't know." Research has also found that men overreport how much housework they do by 148%. So do with that what you will. I'm really irked about the fact too that she didn't even want any kids, one or none. Like the fact that she was even on the fence at all about having kids. I would like to know when they had this conversation about how many kids that they were going to have. It says going into the marriage, we sort of compromised because obviously he didn't want to compromise. Going into the marriage, we compromised to have maybe 2 or 3 kids. So essentially he probably bullied his wife into having 2 or 3 kids when she only wanted 1. And pregnancy is really rough on the body. But anyway, he's set on having 3. So he clearly wanted his wife to get pregnant. And the fact that she was asking and begging for him to get a vasectomy and he was just so against it is just so ridiculous to me. I was on birth control and I wanted to get off birth control, and I had to ask my partner to get a vasectomy, and you know what? He actually did it. We had to talk about it. We talked about like why I wanted to get off of birth control and the fact that like I've been on birth control like 11 plus years, and I just didn't feel right. But we also do not want kids, and the only option was for him to get a vasectomy. We looked at options for me with IUDs and stuff like that, and we looked at the option for him for vasectomy. And you know what? Vasectomies are also reversible. I don't know what the percentages are of how reversible vasectomies are, but all they're doing is cutting that little tube from your ball sack to your peen that pushes your sperm out, you know? So like you're just shooting blanks is what they say. I just think that it's not that big of a deal. Why are women required to do all the pregnancy preventing? Why do we have to be on birth control, like a single pill every day for the rest of our lives or until menopause hits before we can actually like not be on it? If we don't want kids, why do we have to get IUD without anesthesia? Might I remind you, if you've ever looked up information about IUDs, you would know that they don't apply any medication to help with pain. They just shove this little thing right up in your hoo-ha and it snags into your uterine lining, which, by the way, there have been cases, it's not completely uncommon for women to still be impregnated. And it sucks that like women have to do all of these things when if sex is a two-way street, why can't pregnancy prevention also be a two-way street? And don't even mention condoms to some men. There's like this like whole thing about men hating the way condom feels, or like you can't even trust that because there've been so many cases of women having sex with men and agreeing to use a condom, and the man just takes off the condom and she doesn't know. I am a firm believer of men should get vasectomies. If you and your partner agree that you don't want kids, I think that they should look in to see what works for them. But me personally, I think men should get the vasectomies. They're fucking reversible, guys. They're reversible. And not only that, like all you need to do is access the sperm in the balls. If if men had vasectomies and for whatever reason it doesn't become reversible, since we live in the beautiful land of the patriarchy, they would find a way. They always find a way. But I'm getting carried away. I haven't even gotten to it yet, and I'm already, like, heated. Okay. He wasn't comfortable with getting a vasectomy, and he refused, but they were arguing a lot, and so he agreed after months of arguing. Fast forward to now, his wife is pregnant. She doesn't know how this could have happened, but I do. I never forgot the vasectomy 2 years ago. And here's the thing that pisses me off too. Why lie about it? Why lie about it? You could have told your wife. I understand that he was like, she said we would have been done if I didn't get the vasectomy. And they've been together for 12 years, and that is a long time. But you should have ended it when you heard she wanted none to 1 kids and you wanted 5+. If the amount of kids that you want isn't compatible, the future that you imagine for each other isn't compatible, no matter how much time you put into a relationship, it's okay to leave. There's always this thing about, well, I invested so much into it. This is called the sunken cost fallacy, or, well, the sunk cost fallacy, which is when people continue a behavior or endeavor as a result of previously invested resources, leading to irrational decisions based on past cost rather than future potential. So, for example, staying in a relationship that is just gonna end with lots of arguing over how many children you want because your partner doesn't want kids and you want a billion of them. Okay? You should be with someone who wants to have children. Maybe not, it doesn't always have to be as many as you want to have, as long as there's the agreement beforehand, which there was the agreement beforehand, compromising on 2 to 3 kids, which they had 2, and he pretty much forced her into a 3rd kid. And this is just like, ugh, why? Like, I don't understand why this stuff even happens. This is just the most ridiculous thing to me. Like, why lie about it? Okay, I get it. The sunken cost fallacy. You want to stay in that long relationship. You have so much of a bond, but she doesn't want more kids. And instead of letting her have the option to leave, you lied to her and forced her to stay. And now she's pregnant with another kid in a world. I don't know if he's in America, but in America, they rolled back Roe v. Wade, which is ridiculous because, as always, my body, my choice, even though the conservatives were spouting quite the opposite that day and continue to, which is fantastic. But if you're not birthing the children, you don't get a say if someone has to birth children or not. To a point, those are just a clump of cells. I mean, honestly, like, women should have the right to have access to an abortion. Women should have the right to have access to Plan B. And there's nuance to that situation too. It's not like, oh, well, when she's 9 months pregnant, she's just gonna get an abortion. First of all, that's not how that freaking works. No one's gonna go through 9 months of pregnancy and think, now that I'm at the end of it, I think I wanna end them. Like, that's not how that works. And also, like, you're forcing women to not only give birth to children that they probably don't want. I mean, if they're seeking an abortion, they definitely don't want that child. They're going to be resentful to that child, which is going to be a problem for that child as they grow up when they were forced to be born to a mother that didn't want them. 3/4 of dads just yeet out of there, so he might not even have the dad there, which don't even get me started on the fact that people look down on single mothers, even though it's the dads that are bailing. And it's honestly just so fucking ridiculous because it's not a... Okay, listen, I've been studying a lot about feminism, so I'm very passionate about feminism lately. And if you want to watch that, I have a whole video, which I'm actually working on a whole series about feminism and the history behind it and how the patriarchy hurts men too. Feminism isn't about taking away rights from men. It's about equaling the playing field. It's about giving women the same rights as men. Women should have the right to their body. Just like how men aren't forced to have a vasectomy the second they turn 18 or the second they hit puberty age, women shouldn't be forced to go through pregnancies from rape. I'm just saying, women have the right to choose. I'm sorry that I sound super angry. I am a very passionate person, so I get really like loud and excited when I'm talking about things that I deeply care about, and things that I deeply care about are children in the world and how they're raised. As someone who was abused in my childhood, I have a lot of empathy and sympathy for children in abusive homes and like a good way to put a child in an abusive home is to give them parents that didn't want them in the first place. Especially in an economy where people can't even afford rent. People are paying $800 a month and living with 4 freaking roommates still. I mean, we can't afford to have kids in this world. And if you still have kids and you like still love your kids, that's amazing and that's great for you. And I am so glad that you treat your kids so well, as it should be. But unfortunately, that's not always the case. Fathers abandon their children, and we're blaming the single moms for not having a father figure. Just think about that for a minute. Is that not a problem? And it doesn't help when the men that are staying in the children's lives are forcing their wives to get pregnant with a third child that she didn't want. I don't know how many people know about postpartum depression. Apparently not enough. There are a good cause of postpartum depression is being pregnant with a child you don't want. Pregnancy is a super traumatic thing. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. There's a reason that there are like C-sections, and like it's just like it's a surgery. It's a huge deal when women give birth, whether they give birth vaginally or through a C-section. It sucks that the women that are like with these men that are staying in their kids' lives have to worry about their partner lying to them for 2 years about having vasectomy. Also, I was there for my partner's vasectomy because like you have to be. What? Someone had to drive him home. And you know what's some bullcrap is they get freaking pain reliever cream and pain reliever shots and all this nonsense, which is fair, okay? It's a very sensitive area and I understand that. And, you know, it would hurt a lot. I would imagine having your little tube snipped would hurt a lot, and they should have that pain ointment. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have that pain ointment. I think they definitely should. But I'm saying that women don't get access to those same pain relieving medications when they have an IUD shoved up in them, and that's apparently extremely painful. Luckily, I've never been through it, so I don't personally know, but from what other women say, it's extremely painful. And who am I gonna believe? The women that actually went through it, or the men saying that they don't need pain medication? I mean, there's just this whole long situation of women and people of color being told that they're imagining their pain or they're hysterical or they're crazy, which of course, you know, I will get into in my feminism video. Again, you should go over to that if you want to hear more about this. I'm sorry, but I'm just very passionate about this. So let me just get back to, am I the devil? Let's all gather our thoughts, calm down, and read this horrible man's confession. 2 years ago, I pretended that I got a vasectomy, and I told her someone else took me to the appointment. I took a week off work so I can recover from it. I tried to be precaution during sex by pulling out, but it clearly did not work. Pulling out doesn't freaking work, okay? There's this whole thing called pre-cum that comes out before you come that can still get women pregnant. That's why pulling out doesn't work. Now my wife is furious, as I told her the vasectomy could have failed rather than telling her the truth. She's scheduling appointments with lawyers so she can sue the practice in which I received the surgery. However, if they have the records, it will prove that I never got it. Vasectomies can fail, but after you get a vasectomy, you have to nut in a cup and send it back, and then they're like, hey, there's no swimmers in there, or hey, there's swimmers in there, come back, okay? So, even if did fail, I don't think you could just sue the practice for that, because they go through these steps to help you make sure that you are completely clear and good to go. So I don't think that you could even sue them for that. But also the fact that he told her that the vasectomy failed instead of just coming clean is messed up too, but what are we to expect? And that he is allowing this woman to schedule appointments with lawyers and talk to lawyers about this and not telling her that he didn't get it done. So what, when the lawyer freaking finds out and he has to tell your wife, what do you think's gonna happen, dude? She's gonna leave you. At least I hope she does. if she doesn't just become numb for the rest of your marriage. Now my wife is also thinking about having an abortion, but I'm trying to convince her to drop the whole thing. And if anything, the child is a miracle. What should I do now? I'm worried if I tell her the truth, she will leave me. When she finds out the truth, she's gonna leave you, and I hope she leaves your ass. I don't want to lose her. She's the love of my life. I don't know what I could do without her. I know this is my fault, but please help me. How should I go on about this? If she's the love of your life, you wouldn't have lied to her about this. If she's the love of your life, you would have cared enough about her to hear her saying, I'm done at 2 children, when she already gave you an additional child that she didn't want. And you would have gotten a vasectomy for her, or you would have told her, hey, I don't want to get one, and just dealt with the consequences of that. But instead, you lied to her for years. And then she gets pregnant and doesn't want to have the kid and is trying to get an abortion, and you're preventing her from doing that by trying to convince her to drop getting an abortion, which is preventing her from getting an abortion, and like forcing her to have this child that she didn't want. Are you gonna get a vasectomy after this? Oh no, probably not, huh? And then when does it stop? Do you just keep going? Do you really think after your wife finds out that you pretended to get a vasectomy that she's still gonna be married to you? Because this could not be the last time. You could just do it again. What's gonna stop you from doing it again? She would have to go there to make sure that you get a vasectomy. And that's ridiculous. She shouldn't have to babysit you to make sure that you do what you say you're gonna do. And also, it makes me furious that he took off a whole week to pretend that he was, like, healing from it. That is so messed up, dude. That is so messed up. Also, it only took a weekend to heal from it, okay? So, a little dramatic there. A weekend of tender loving care and lots of ice packs, and he'll be just fine. Don't worry, you don't have to deal with a whole week of pain. But it's just, oh my god, it makes me so mad that he just lied to her. He expects to either tell her the truth and she'll stay with him, because if he tells her the truth, she's gonna leave him. So he doesn't want that to happen. He just thinks that she might, like, forgive him, maybe, because, you know, oh, if you tell the truth. But no, you're gonna lose her. You're gonna lose her, and you've ruined her life, okay? That's what I think. You ruined her life. Poor woman only wanted 1 to none kids. She didn't even know if she wanted children, and you forced her into 2, potentially 3 children, and that's the love of your life? Like, man, I would really hate to be loved by you. What do you do for your children? Do you respect them too? Do you love them too? Do you love them this way, where you lie to them for several years and just let them believe something in delusion while you're doing whatever you want behind their back, hoping to destroy whatever it is that they are wanting to build? Like, it is just a horrible, awful thing to pretend to get a vasectomy and lie to your wife about it, and then gaslight her after she gets pregnant, trying to be like, oh, it's a miracle from God, and, you know, the vasectomy, I guess it failed, and then force her to keep it when she doesn't even want it. It is ridiculous. Unfortunately, this is a good example of sometimes you just can't trust, you know, even the people closest to you. Even some of the men closest to you will let you down and lie to you. And I am very interested in what other people are saying about this. So let's go ahead and get into some comments. This user says, I hope she leaves you. And I'm also pretty sure in some states, this could fall into the grounds of rape. And I do think so as well. This was a non-consensual pregnancy. She was under the impression that she was having sex with her husband who had a vasectomy, but instead she was having sex with a man that was lying to her. The literal definition of rape is unlawful sexual activity, and usually sexual intercourse, carried out forcibly or under threat of injury against a person's will, or with a person who is beneath a certain age or incapable of valid consent because of mental illness, mental deficiency, intoxication, unconsciousness, or deception. It's literally right there, deception. Forcing someone to have sex with you by deceiving them, essentially. Like, it's disgusting and it's wrong behavior. And I really hope that this man gets his comeuppance, and I really hope that she drags him through divorce court and ruins his life. Honestly, I would love it if she ruined his life because he ruined hers. Obviously, that's hyperbolic or like not literal. I don't want anybody's life to be ruined, but you know, I mean, you really get what you give. And what he gave was ruining his wife's life. And if she does the same back to him, I'm sorry. I don't feel any pity for you. I don't feel any empathy or sympathy, any way, shape, or form. Like, how can you lie to your partner for 2 years and pretend to get a vasectomy and then think that they'll still stay with you after you destroyed their trust? There's no coming back from that. This person says, wow, filing against a practice for a failed vasectomy is rather drastic considering the process itself is reversible. Here's the percentage of reversibility. But I'm not from a litigation culture, so what do I know? Nevertheless, you have to accept that what you did was selfish clownery of the highest order, and it is coming back to bite hard. You have lied and deliberately deceived your wife, who actually has grounds to press charges against you, as I doubt she would have had sex with you had she known that you were still fertile. Choices are to hug your children for the last time as she divorces you to the high heaven, or at least begin to make things right. Accept that she wants an abortion, get your sperm frozen, and have a real vasectomy. Oh my god, yes too, you can get your sperm frozen. Like, vasectomies aren't like a permanent thing. Are you kidding? Like, you can still have access to that. Like, women can't get pregnant after they have their ovaries removed or anything like that, but they can get pregnant after like they take the IUD out or birth control or whatever. But like, the fact that men can literally just nut in a cup and keep it in a building in a freezer for the rest of their lives to have access to whenever they want to have children. They don't even have to be a part of the process. Women have to be there for every step of the way. They have to get pregnant, they have to be pregnant, and they have to give birth. And to take away the right from your wife to not want to have kids, or not want to have more kids rather, is just so messed up. You fucked her trust so hard it prolapsed. That's a good one. If she doesn't divorce you, I don't know what she's doing with you. This person says, no way this is real. No adult male is this immoral, sexist, psychopathic, and this uneducated about contraception. At least I hope not. I hope this was a troll, which, yeah, I hope it is a troll. I really do. Like, I genuinely do. And I genuinely hope that I got rage baited. Like, really, I really do. For the sake of this woman not being forced to give birth to multiple kids that she didn't want. But this is also a reality. Men will lie to women to have sex with them, which has been shown. Like, men are literally like taking these dating classes where they're like, oh, say these 3 things and you'll guarantee get laid. And it's like, so if you're following a guideline of saying these 3 things, how many of those things are actually things that you wanted to say yourself? It's probably just, hey, I have this, let me tear down your self-esteem so that you want to be with me, which for some reason they always do that, which I don't even know why they would think that that works. Like, yeah, that's great. Just ruin, and also the fact that that's so messed up too, to ruin someone's self-esteem just so you can sleep with them is so messed up. Why wouldn't you want to be with a partner who wants to be with you? I mean, honestly, like, is there nothing more beautiful than having consensual relations with someone who wants to have consensual relations with you? Like, why would you want anything else? Why go so hard for women that don't want children and force them to have children? Why go so hard for women that only want like 2 kids and force them to have as many as she unfortunately lets you? There are so many freaking trad wives that have so many kids, and it's like, how do you have time for all these kids? You don't. There are people that barely have enough time for their 1 kid. They don't even have time for themselves. They have to funnel all their time into their 1 kid, and that's a lot. Like, you shouldn't be having 5 at least kids. Like, geez Louise. Begin to pack your stuff because your marriage is over. God, I hope this marriage is over. Like, it's insane to me that this, if this is real, and obviously I'm going off the fact that I don't know if it's real. Like, I can't say I think it's real or I think it's fake because I don't know. I'm not the one who wrote it. But obviously I'm gonna treat it like it is real, because this is a thing that actually does happen, where men deceive women and get them pregnant and force them to take care of the children that they don't want, and then they take away our abortion rights, and then they force us to give birth to these children that we don't want, and then we have to just deal with that? Like, it's not okay. I'm literally losing my voice because I'm getting so heated. So I think actually I'm going to end the video here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you want to watch me rant more about like feminism or really whatever, you can check up over here. I have a really also cool video about school fundraisers being scams. If you want something a little bit more lighthearted, I guess. I don't know how lighthearted it would be to know that school fundraisers are scams and not actually there to help the children, but are there to make a profit. So anyway, yeah, if you want to go to that channel, it's right here. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like the video. Let me know what you thought about this man down in the comments below. Do you think I'm being over dramatic? Do you think I need to calm down and touch some grass? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.